Welcome back, Truth Seeker. So, 2 days ago, I was in this neighborhood, and I've been thinking this for days, what to come back and talk about on here with you guys. And it's been so tough to just get on here because I don't see anyone trying to come out of Babylon and understand the word the way we need to understand it. I don't. It's like, what do I say? I've done showed you guys so much, and I still get people who I've showed who want to talk and converse with me. They still want to defend the image of the beast, even though every day we see more and more of her nakedness and her shame. So I was sitting there thinking, it got real quiet. I was in this like cul-de-sac neighborhood, and I was like, what can I say? What can I say to these people? And all of a sudden I heard a loud voice say, Jake, it's time to go, Jake. It's time to go to therapy, Jake. And I turned around, and the person that was saying it looked like Bubbles. He was Bubbles from the Trailer Park Boys. He was his twin. And then right after that, I found this article. And for those of you who've been paying attention, have you been paying attention? Truth Seeker? Have you? Okay. Do you notice any significance just in the title to this, in the headline for this article? Let me read a little of this article to you. Over 200 objections fail to halt 42-floor Jerusalem Tower approval. Over 200 objections have not stopped the Jerusalem District Planning and Building Committee from approving the plan for a 42-floor tower near Mount Herzl in the capital, a source close to the matters has told Globes. The controversial plan in the in the Epstein complex overlooks the Yad Vashem Holocaust Remembrance Center and the Mount Herzl Military Cemetery. So, do you see that what they want to name this tower? The plan is to build Epstein Tower. Now I know it might just be a coincidence. I'm sure that's a common name over there. But is it a coincidence that his little building on his island was blue and white with the gold dome on top? And is it now? Now can you understand why nobody's doing anything to Israel? Why all this Diddy stuff's going on? And it's because I don't even want to mention what they've been doing, how they've been blackmailing everybody. That's why Biden and them, and don't forget your boy Donald Trump, he was on the what was his plane called? The Lulu Express or whatever. Trump was on that. He went to that island. Don't forget it. So everything that you see going on, and look at all the numbers. They will have 240 housing units. And if you read this article, the objections was they wanted it to only be 30 stories, but the owner, whoever plans to own Epstein Island, they had to have it 42 floors. Yes, they did. If you go in here and read it. And there's a perfect 807, it's either 80,700 square feet or 807,000 square feet. I can't remember. You can do the math right there with the 60,000, 11,000, and 4,000 square meters that of space that it's going to have. It'll equal 87, which is the 56, which is who Israel is. They're the sojourner, they're the wanderer, the stranger. So I was like, therapy, Jake has to go to therapy. Yeah, Bubbles was right. Jake does need to go to therapy. And what kind of therapy that is, it's for those of you who speak English, it's English class. It's learning what these words mean in the Word. The reason the people don't, they just want to keep defending the image of the beast. They want to side with them and make excuses for it. The Messiah said that when you see the abomination that lays waste in the place where it should not be, flee to the mountains. He didn't say wait for the rapture. That's not what he said. We all know the image of the beast and the abomination that lays waste is the same thing. Okay, well, everybody who don't want to take this word seriously, they're waiting for a statue. So what kind of, we know too that the beast is a kingdom in the Word. So what are you guys waiting for? You guys waiting for them to put a statue that looks like a government in the on the Temple Mount? Is that what you guys are waiting for? They're going to put a statue that somehow resembles a country, a government? You know that the beast is a kingdom. So when he said, when you see it put up where it should not be, where it should not be. Someone was telling me the other day, they said, I understand that Jerusalem has got, they got all these idols and statues, which I didn't even know that, but hey, guarantee you. They said, but it's still God's holy land. No, it ain't. It's not. It's the image of the beast set up where it should not be. We read Ezekiel 21 last time. Let me read a little of 22 to you. And the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, and now, Son of man, judge the city of blood, and you shall show her all her abominations. Son of man, the word shall show you, true seeker, all her abominations. You should be able to see it. And you shall say, thus said the Master Yahuwah, the city sheds blood in her midst, that her time might come. Now see, this is one reason I've been at a loss lately. Because I don't know what to tell any of yous anymore. If you can't see it, I mean, and I'm going to go back to chapter 21 here in just a second and give you a clue as to why you're probably not seeing it. And it's something I've been saying for a long time, and it's the truth. But it's just more proof right here in Ezekiel. But why I've been at a loss is because the people that I'm talking about, that I'm talking to right now, they They want to defend them over there spilling blood within its midst. They want to keep saying the same dumb crap over and over again. Well, she has the right to defend herself. It's so stupid. And honestly, like, I'm just fed up with the stupidity. It's absolute stupidity. This is what's happening. He says the city sheds blood in her midst, that her time might come. That's what you're witnessing every day over there on the news. Bombing to smithereens and starvation. And do you know that they've got 10,700 children in their prisons? And these people that you're defending, they're those people that they have openly claimed that they have the right to rape prisoners, mutilate them, rape them with hot electric rods and stuff, and still, people are still just. They're just dumbfounded. They're just like, well, they have the right to defend themselves. Or they'll say, that's not true. That ain't true. And then the people that they're defending come out and have a news conference later that day and tell you that it is true, that they love it and they want to keep doing it and they're not going to stop doing it. But this is what's bringing about the end. You just read it right there. She sheds blood in her midst, that her time might come. And she has made idols within herself to become defiled. Now, in the last chapter, we read about the divination and the fork of the two ways. Okay, let me show you right here. And every verse in this whole book is telling you what you got to do. Like, look right here in this verse 13. It says, for it is a trier. It's talking about the word, the sword that's used to slaughter. It says, for it is a trier. And what if it even despises the rod? Any idea what that means? If you'd been paying attention, you'd know. The rod, the measuring rod. The rod means for you to come home. The Passover, the lamb. It despises the rod. And yes, is that not what's happening? Ain't nobody cares about the rod. But down here, when we seen right here, it says, and you, son of man, appoint for yourself 2 ways for the sword of the sovereign of Babel to go, both of them coming from one land, and place a signpost, put it at the head of the way to the city. Appoint a way for the sword to go to Rabbah of the Ammonites, and one way to Jerusalem. Okay, so that city of blood we was just reading about in the next chapter, that's Rabbah. That's what he's talking about. It's the image of the beast, the abomination that lays waste. So there's a word that despises the rod. That is a lie. It's divination in order to point the world either one way or the other. But the world, largely, they've chosen Rabbah. They're going that way. And right here in verse, I can't see that, verse 21, I think it is, yeah, 21. This tells you why it is that you're probably a victim of that word. It says, for the sovereign of Babel shall stand at the parting of the way, at the fork of the 2 ways, to practice divination, to obscure, to hide. He shall shake the arrows. The arrows are like the enemy. He shoots those fiery arrows at you. Those are lies. what we're talking about here. And the Most High and his prophets, they bend the bow. They launch the arrows of truth. So the sovereign of Babel, in his practice of divination at the fork of the two ways, he shakes the arrows. He shall ask the household idols. He shall look at the liver. Those three things right there in the last of that verse is what separates someone who will understand what this word's saying and come home, and someone who is on their way to slaughter. They're already slaughtered. They ain't got a clue what's going on. They're defending pedophiles, child pedivores. And it don't matter what nasty things they get accused of or admit to. It don't matter. They don't care. But he shall shake the arrows. He shall shake the word. That word that despises the rod. He shall ask the household idols. We've learned from the get-go that if you're not disgusted with the holidays, you're done. It's not enough that you just don't celebrate them. You gotta be disgusted. Well, most people, even these Hebrew people, they might quit celebrating Easter, or Christmas, but then they substitute that with Hanukkah, and they still go to these little parties, and they make excuses, and they wanna go to church and congregate with a bunch of adulterers who don't see nothing wrong with these holidays, who think you're crazy because you got a problem with the holidays. You are never going to overcome that divination at the fork of the two ways. You're never going to be able to come back to Yehuda, Yerushalayim, unless you put down the household idols. You read the word and search out the hidden meaning in it. And the last part is the most important part. He shall look at the liver. I've been telling you that if you can't quit eating meat, blood the way you do, you're just not going to see this, because it's all in the meaning of Passover. The reason that we're only to roast meat one time a year, one day a year, and it has to be in Jerusalem, it was like that analogy about the fish aquarium the other day. I mean, are you just going to sit and eat all your fish? If you have a little puppy dog or a kitty cat, are you going to eat it just because you're hungry? You going to go skin it and fillet it up and throw it in the frying pan? But yet we'll do that to all these cows and everything without a care. We just think it's for our food. I haven't ate meat like that for 7 years now. I ain't needed it. I don't need that meat. You don't either. And until you realize that all Abba's creation is precious and it has value, and that you just can't go around gobbling it up like a big gluttonous lizard, until you realize that, you're never going to understand what Passover's about. And you have to understand all that. This is why it says in Revelations that the Lamb was the only one worthy to open the scrolls, loosen the seal. See, when I try to tell people about these words, they say, that's not what it means. I've been reading the word for this long and that long. If you ain't trying your darndest to observe the feast days, the Passover, you ain't going to open it. It's ridiculous how these people read this word. So, okay, they think that that means that Jesus was the only one worthy to open the scrolls. Okay, well, so what's that do for you? Does it matter? You just don't care if the scrolls are opened or not. You just think that because it says that he was worthy to open the scrolls, that he's the only one that can go up and look at it and read it. That ain't what it means. It means that you're not going to understand none of this word and find deliverance unless you follow the Lamb. That's what that means. And here's proof of just one word, just one example. I always tell you about the thigh, okay? And what that means, the reason his name's written on his thigh, the reason the blood goes up to the thigh, all that stuff. It's the word. It means reading the word correctly. Right here, verse 12. Cry and wail, Son of Man, for it shall be on my people, on all the leaders of Yasharal, that sword, sharpened, polished, given into the hand of the killer. They shall be delivered to the sword together with my people. Therefore strike your thigh. So, because everyone's being delivered by this horrible lie twisting of the word, you're supposed to just smack your thigh real hard? What good's that gonna do you? Huh? That ain't gonna do you no good, is it? You have to put the Bible, whatever form you have, on your thigh and get serious about this whole ordeal. That her time has come. You see what's going on, and there ain't gonna be much. These days are gonna be shortened. Otherwise, there'd be no flesh left. Look at all the stuff he's shown us. He's been showing us that Russia and China was going to be doing what they're doing and about to do what they're about to do. He's been showing us that the whole time, and people didn't believe that. Well, look what's happening. Do you doubt that now? Do you doubt that the men of the East are going to invade this place? Do you doubt that somebody ain't going to bomb that place over there because of all the crap they're doing? What I've been saying a few years ago, yeah, I can understand how you couldn't believe it then. But now, Truth Seeker, it's time for you to strike your thigh. Understand that you're being monitored at all times by the Most High, Abba Yahuwah. He watches what you eat. He keeps track of every hair on our heads, every feather on these birds. He knows how many animals it takes to satisfy your gluttony every week. He knows if you're striking your thigh or not. He knows. It's intended. This word's intended to kill all these pretenders. Destroy them. They're destroying themselves.